Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's listening right now in the podcast. It is Saturday, October 19, 2024. I wanted to come here guys and speak about the power grid situation that happened in Cuba in the last couple of days. And I believe it got worse today actually. But before I continue, I want to say thank you so much to all the messages that I received. In case you were not aware, but I lost my mother. She went to be with the Lord this past Sunday, which is gonna be a week tomorrow already. I cannot believe it's gonna be already a week. But I will in the future speak about everything that happened with her, in regards to her dealing with the sickness and all of that, and me being there all the way to the last breath that she took here on this earth. But like I said, you guys, there's a lot happening in this world right now, and after dealing with the loss of a mother, losing your mom and all of that, and going through funerals and all of that, I found myself not only learning so much about myself, but also seeking the Lord. And briefly, I will turn on the news to see like what was going on, and I was like, "Oh my Lord!" Like we are so close to the second coming of Christ. And speaking about what happened in Cuba, and people can probably say, Cuba is a compared to other countries, they're not so advanced. Uh, it may be a little undeveloped, because of the political situation that they had to deal with in the past and all of that stuff. But um, it's very strange that in so many years nothing like this has happened. And then learning about everything that's happening in Israel and all of the entertainment industry basically coming, all the dark secrets coming up flow, and people being exposed in the pastor situations that has been going on. We're definitely so close. My last video that I posted was regarding Elon Musk robots and all that's coming with that, right? And I was like, I don't, Elon Musk plan with the robots. It's just like, really, do we think that God is just gonna sit and let that happen? But anyways, let me stay on the topic here. So I'm gonna talk to you guys about what's going on in Cuba. Millions of people in Cuba were left without power, electricity for 2 days after the nation's energy grid went down when one of the island's major power plant fell. It says here the widespread blackout that swept across the country was the worst in years. Authorities were able to restore the power to some people, okay, by Saturday, but it was unclear when the power would be fully restored across the country. And here's what happened. Okay, it says here about half of Cuba was plunged into darkness on Thursday. So it began on Thursday evening, followed by the entire island on Friday morning. Do you understand what it is to have an entire country without electricity? Like, you don't ever expect something like this to happen. From what I remember living in the Dominican Republic, like there were times when certain neighborhoods will lose power, and then you walk a couple blocks and then that neighborhood will have power, right? You see that happen, at least I see that happen here in Connecticut when there's like a snowstorm. You can drive from one town to the next, and like this town has power, the other town doesn't. But not to see the entire country without power, that is very strange, very rare, right? So the whole island went without power on Friday morning after the failure of the Antonio Guterres thermoelectric plant in the province of East Havana. Even in a country that for decades has been accustomed to frequent outage, the grid failure was unprecedented in modern times. Aside from incidents involving hurricanes like the one that happened in 2022, even as Cuba worked to fix the power problems this Saturday, so today, the country issued a hurricane watch for eastern Guantanamo in Las Tunas province as tropical storm developed in the hurricane into Hurricane Oscar. So there's a hurricane right now heading that way, and they named the hurricane Oscar the 10th hurricane of the 2024 hurricane season. It says here, authorities say the outage that began Thursday stemmed from increased demand from small to medium-sized company in residence air conditioning, as many as 100,000 additional ones this year alone. They also blame the breakdowns in all thermoelectric plants properly that have not been properly maintained because of lack of currency due to the US sanctions, as well as insufficient fuel to operate some facilities. Wow, so not only are they dealing with this whole power grid, power outage, there's a hurricane heading that way, right? So we definitely need to pray for the people of Cuba, but also like it's just very strange that we're very close to the end of the year, right? And they're saying this is due to people using more air conditioning, and it kind of double the amount of air conditioning that they're using over there now. And the company saying specifically this year, it tells you like, wait a second, we're more than halfway through the year. Now you're trying to say they're using more electronics now, like a big change of that would happen probably during the summer season. I understand it's the islands, the Caribbean. I know it's the warm weather like throughout the year, but even so, the summer just ended, right? So you would think something like this would have happened alerted already, that something like this could happen. And the reason that I'm speaking about Cuba, guys, because a lot of the times we see things like this, and we see, we relate it this way. We're like, oh, it's the Caribbean. Of course, it's Cuba. Like, they're not, Cuba, like I said, I'm trying to find the right word to describe it, but from my understanding is, I never been there, obviously, but from my understanding is that compared to other countries, because of the political situation that they've been having, that they had, I guess you can say, for many years. Like if some countries got internet, Cuba probably got it like years after, right? The same thing with cars and technology and all of that stuff, right? So I understand they might not be dealing with the best developed technology when it comes to power grid, power plants, and all of that. So somebody can look at that and be like, oh, that's the reason why it's happening. The equipment could be old, they're not up to date to the standards and all of that. But that tells you how vulnerable we are to technology, to gasoline, to use the cars, right? I mean, now people can say, oh, I have an electric car, yeah, but you also need to power to charge that, our phones, everything, right? And to lose power like that, there's people who get sick, the weather, obviously, people who need medical equipment, all of that stuff. And this is unprecedented, okay? And I feel like 2024 has been this year that has been brought up to the surface so many things that need to get fixed, right? It only tells you like, okay, so what is coming in 2025, right? If everything that needs to be worked on is being brought to the surface this year, we can only assume that it's prepping time because something even greater is coming. Even though, like I said, not because of the passing of my mother, but the last couple of days have been this urge for me that I could be like trying to clear my head, I guess you can say, and just like going for a walk on the beach or something. And I'm like, I'm just gonna pray right now. Like, you cannot ignore that feeling that something is brewing that's gonna impact so many of us, right? Not even so many of us, it's gonna impact the entire world. There's a lot of unprecedented things that are happening. And not only that, there's so much happening right now in Israel that you cannot help but to know that obviously Israel is being touched, I guess you can say. So something is brewing that's gonna come. And if we all, like, you can hear people testimony on the internet speaking about it, right? And we all, if we all as Christians can feel it in our gut, right? Like, I will be like watching something to clear my head. Like I said, losing your mom, it's gonna take me a long time. I'm better today. It's only been a week, but I'm saying, like, I'm kind of like in and out processing the whole thing. And mind you, even though I knew, like, she's been sick for a while, so, and we were already like told, like, get ready, right? Um, Even so, like I said, I would be watching something, and I just felt this need to just cut everything and just go and pray. Or I will be like, okay, where is my Bible? I need to read something. And it will be like this prayer of God protect me from what is coming, and like you feel it, right? um and as we know, right, we are the believers, we have this hope, that the faith and the knowing that if Jesus is coming back, right? And so really, there shouldn't be any worry for us, right? If anything, we should be just prepping, right? And if this is an opportunity for me to come here and tell you guys to please do whatever you need to do to stay away from sin. When you are tempted to sin, right? Pray and ask the Holy Spirit to help you. We should not be playing with sin right now. Playing with sin right now is like playing with fire. Even like control your emotions, right? Getting angry and taking these rant, ratchet decisions in the moment because you're angry. We should really be watching out for that. Stay in purity, right? Clear your mind, right? Think whatever is noble. All of the verses that say, that says all of that, what you should be thinking about. And if anything, be more and more into prayer, fasting, and getting closer with the Lord. Everything that's happening, the sky is bringing out signs. Technology is advancing like crazy. Okay, I mean, this guy, I think I said in my last video that I made, I was talking about Elon Musk and like how this man is just, it's almost like I had this vision of him, like, I can just picture him going crazy developing these robots and just ramping up the production of all these robots and just making as many as they can, okay? Because, things like that we probably never seen before, but they want to bring that into households. They want to replace jobs and all of that. And people are like, yeah, I can't wait to see a robot, fold my laundry or take care of my kids. Like, do you understand that robots are taking away jobs? They will be taking away jobs, right? And there's so many things that, it's almost like when you hear people talking about the robots, right? I know this is not with the topic, but speaking about end times and everything that's happening, right? Including the power grid fallout in Cuba, that's all connected, right? Um, People, sometimes you hear people talking about the robots and how much they cannot wait to have this robot like babysit for you and like take care of your kids, like I said, cook for you and like be your companion and all of that. Like, it's almost like when you hear people talking about hell and they're like, oh yeah, we're all gonna be dancing and drinking over there in hell. Like, it's so crazy, and it tells you like how society is so lost to even think like that. Hell is nothing to be playing around with. Okay, it's a torment in cycle. It's a never-ending torment. Okay, and people take it like it's nothing, right? And I feel like when I hear people talking about the robots, and like I said before, I love technology. I like learning new things, but there's a fine line, right, that we should be aware of and to see and have discernment to see what are you really trying to do here with these robots, right? And what is the end game if you're gonna bring these robots to do so much? Uh, if if they're gonna replace like 98% of the jobs, then how are we gonna make a living, right? Are we gonna be a slave now, right? For a salary coming from whoever owns the robots? Are the robots gonna be, you know, giving us an income, right? And when you depend on something like that, then you are basically their slave, right? So sometimes you hear people talking about everything that's happening with these robots, and you're like, they're taking it as lightly as when people joke about saying that in hell they're going to be drinking and dancing. And that's a scary thought. It tells you that how deceived we could be and how easily deceived we could be. So, looking at the Cuba situation, right, is basically, something that should be alarming because it can happen anywhere. We're all dependent. One power plant failure and we could be without power for days, right? And it's not to bring any fear mongering, nothing like that, but to make things aware of how vulnerable we are, right? How vulnerable we are, independent we are of this technology. And it's just crazy, you guys. And sometimes, like I said before, people can look at Cuba and be like, oh, it's somewhat undeveloped in that sense of technology, but it can happen anywhere. I mean, these people are getting ready to receive a hurricane that's heading that way, but they have no power to, right? Only 5% of the island was able to get back and have power just today. And they had another failure this afternoon. That's why only 5% was able to get back on. So just keep this island in your prayers. I'm trying to see how I can maneuver all the topics that are happening. There's a lot that we should be talking about when it comes to everything that's coming together to the end times. And here's the thing. I told you guys that my mom passed away, and it's so crazy because, like I said, we were already told, that it's not looking good about 2 weeks ago. But then she got better, right? And the day before, I'm buying things for her. And I'm like, okay, so tomorrow I'm going to bring this. I'm going to try this and see if she can eat with this. And just getting ready. And then it happened. And you're like, oh, wow, I cannot believe this actually happened, right? And it's like, what? Like, it takes you kind of like by surprise. How can something that you've been preparing yourself for can actually take you by surprise, right? And thinking about that I went through last week, it's kind of like the same thing with this, everything that's happening in the world, right? It wasn't long enough that we were talking about robots. It wasn't that long enough that, that's they were talking about the entertainment industry and people who do a lot of stuff for fame and fortune. And now things are being exposed. People are being persecuted, right? Not long ago, we were talking about how these celebrity pastors are just like, there's something needs to be said, and now some of them are being exposed. And now it's almost like the bandage that we had in our eyes was removed, and now we can clearly see things for what they are. So because of that, it tells you, right, now that we see things more clearly, right, that things are being presented now, and we're like, that makes a lot of sense now, I get it. That tells you that God is doing that to prepare us for what is to come. Prepare us for what is to come. That's why so many people have this gut feeling inside of them that something is definitely brewing. Something, and like I'm not even talking about the elections that are going to happen in 2 weeks here in the US, within 2 weeks. Definitely something is brewing, and like I told you guys, I will be trying to clear my head going through this whole loss of my mother, and I'll be like, okay, like it will be just like, okay, I'm gonna shut everything down. Like I said, and I'm just gonna pray. And when I read the Bible, I'm just gonna pray and be in in the in the Word, and I will feel the strong presence of the Lord, right? And it's for us to pay attention everything that's happening, you guys. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Everyone, have a good day. God bless. Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe and share. And if you want to know more about me, you can visit my website, julissadesigns.com. Have a good day everybody. God bless.